Welcome back to the show. Now we're getting into our Snowpiercer review. And to start the overview, this is a 2013 post-apocalyptic science action film directed by Bong Joon-ho, written by Bong and Kelly Masterson. The film stars Chirs Evans, Song Kang-ho, Jamie Bell, and Ed Harris. And this film is about a lower-class kill section passengers as they rebel against the elite of the front of the train. This had a budget of 40 million, brought in 86.8 million to the box office. Also had a 94% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. And this is one of those films, like you had recommended it. It has really good filmmaking. The commentary is at an extremely high level. They're trying to
Yeah.
give you indication of something that happens in society. But with it being so contemplative and visually impressive, what were your initial thoughts of it?
Man, I wrote it off. I watched it with a friend. He recommended it. He was like, "Man, have you seen this before?" It was on Netflix. I was like, "Nah." I was like, Chris Evans in it, so I'll watch it. I like Chris Evans, but even before he became Captain
Marvel,
America.
yeah,
Yeah, before even that, I thought he was a good actor. But watching it at first, I'm like, okay, they're a Belgian, and then it got into the nitty gritty of it.
took off.
I thought, yeah, bro, it took off. It was a I was so glued to the screen. I was on the edge of the seat, no lie. This film really, I love how it was shot first and foremost. It The scenery doesn't change. Like, I love films that are able to captivate a story with one setting. They're
Yeah,
on a train. Like, it's extremely hard to get that many angles
hmm
of a story and
one
develop
location.
characters in one location and be able to character develop that quickly within the storyline. I mean, obviously it's a 2 hour long film, but I think it did a great job describing things, unveiling a lot of things, keeping your eye on the screen, and then just your jaw just drops. Like, I'm like, oh wow. And then how it ended, I was like, okay, there has to be another one, but there's nothing in the
Yeah,
works.
nothing in the
And this
hall.
is
Like that's it.
2013. That's it. But I mean, it was, I was like, why would it's just two people that's never been off the train just saw a polar bear and they're just like, oh yeah. No. If I see
Nah.
a polar bear, I'm getting back on the train, brother. I don't care if it's scratch or not. But nah, great film, bro. First thoughts, I'm like, man, this is a chaotic but beautiful film.
Yeah, and that's the chaos of it is something that stands out because, like you said, um, we see many movies where okay, there's multiple locations, multiple things done, but actually being able to get what they got done in one location, that was really the most impressive, overachieving aspect of it. Like, do you feel as though Bong Joon Ho he really wanted to he really wanted to master something that was different and not just like a typical hey, we're going to have multiple places, we're just really going to like lock in one setting.
I'm sure that was a thought because I mean this can get expensive if you do multiple um, shots and sites or whatever. So it was like, okay, if we can do just one stationary place, a train is always moving, is always something happening on a train. So we can do the different stages of the
Right.
plot of the characters to be able to unveil so many things about these characters in the plot, the whole ensemble of the storyline. So I think it obviously took that into the account and just ran with it and made it so impactful. I don't
Yeah.
think, and this I think this is before time. This 2013. That's nobody was really using one site to shoot a movie. It may be indie film, but this is
Yeah.
definitely not an indie film. This was had some big heavy hitters in here,
Yeah.
as you mentioned before we started talking about these topics. But yeah, I think he definitely took that into account, and I think he mastered before the time of using a one site to bring out a storyline, characters, the whole nine.
Mhm. Absolutely. And now getting to our first topic from 1 to 4 stars, what would you give it? Yeah, I think this was a 4 star film. I think it was really good, high speed. There was just a complex narrative that was delivered, and it just had this very good character development with
Yeah.
so many people in the movie. To you, from 1 to 4 stars, what would be your rating?
Four. And I was kind of surprised. I looked at all these other sites. They was giving it, out of 5 stars, it was given like 3.5. And I was like, man, this is a movie that I think doesn't have any blemishes. You can't nitpick at this film to me. There's so many things, like everything was answered. you didn't know all these things that were unveiled were coming, especially
Yeah,
when we thought what's his name, Nanggoon Minsu was like snorting all the stuff, but he was trying to make a bomb. We didn't
yeah.
know
We didn't
that
know
was
that.
coming.
Mhm.
I didn't know that was like, hey, he just really the crackheads, bro. I mean, crackheads will do anything, but they're great guys, you know.
Always good, upstanding.
Yo, so we didn't see that coming. So there was a lot of things that um you were able to like be glued to the screen and
Yeah,
like, oh my gosh, and your eyes always got big at certain moments. And then it had comedy in it too. So it's at
sure.
every we like you like movies that check boxes, and it definitely had like stints of comedy in there,
Mhm.
especially when I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay.
No, you
Four
good.
stars.
4 stars.
Four
And,
stars.
and now getting into to favorite character, I would go with Curtis because
Yeah,
he
that
really
was
had
good.
to hold things together for a lot of scenes of the film, and was the guy who the passengers depended on a lot. To you overall, who was kind of your favorite character in this one?
I was going back and forth with two people. I had Tanya.
Mhm.
I really loved her character, and Namgoon Minsu. I'm
Yeah,
probably butchering that. But those two characters stood out the most. One, Tanya, was the only woman in there going crazy bonkers with him. Talking about, look, I don't care. I'm a woman. I'm not going to slow y'all down. She was in there going ahead. I hate how she died, though,
oh
which was terrible. I hate that. But that showed me the love for her son.
man.
Like she'll do anything, knowing what they was doing back there before they were, you know what I mean? When before we
Yeah,
unveiled, like, oh man, they used to had to hide the kids. So I thought her character was really good. And then Namgoon Masoon, I thought his character, like he was a bad but undercover, bro. Like he was beating people up. He had a whole plan. He didn't know his wife. You know, a couple people tried to escape, and that's as far as they got. And then
yeah,
he noticed little things. Like so, his character was so underrated, but they developed that character
so well.
under the surface, and then they just brought it up like it's more to him than you think of this little drug. That's all we're gonna show you. And you know what I'm saying? So I mean, yeah, them two characters. I can't pick one. I mean, Curtis is the
It's
obvious
so
one.
close. Yeah, it's so close. Like, because those two
Yeah,
really were valuable, really
valuable
valuable
assets.
characters.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. And before we move on to our next topic, I know you were mentioning how you said even with Chris Evans, even before the Marvel movies, you were still sold on him as a really good actor. What to you impressed you about him in this movie, and also just like you said, there's other movies he's been in besides the main box office
yeah.
Marvel movies, and he does have an impressive body of work in terms of some of the movies he's been a part of.
You can tell the range. It was like on a displayed everywhere, but you could tell the emotion, the range that he has as a actor, but
Yeah,
it gets overshadowed because he plays this big um mogul of a character in Marvel. A lot of people don't understand
the
Chris
popcorn
Evans.
movies. Yeah, the
Yeah,
popcorn
he
movies.
has some range. He can get into the roles like Gray
Yeah,
Man. He was in that film. He was the bad guy. He had range in
right.
there. He can play different roles. He played in Cellular. I don't know you about that phone where a lady family got kidnapped and she had a broken phone and she tried to call the first number and she got Chris Evans and he was helping them get out of like that film was so dope and so underrated. If you haven't watched it,
I
I
haven't
think it's
seen that.
called Cellular. But yeah, look it up. I think you'll like it. It's not like 5 stars. It's like
Mhm.
it's like a two and a half,
2.5.
close to three. But I think you will enjoy it because you can tell that he has that range. He played in other films, but I think he's underrated when it comes to showing his depth and what he can do with characters, especially
Yeah,
when he unveiled everything. He sat there. It's just that emotion. We don't get to see that from him because of the movies that overshadow Marvel, that overshadow his other movies.
absolutely. And now getting into most memorable scenes, I had the axe battle, left or right,
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
disorder speech, the broken arm scene, also the fighting train
Yeah.
crash. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the fighting train crash as stands out out of a lot of them, and there's a lot of good ones in this film. But to you, what were some of the memorable scenes that were standouts for you?
There were so many. I'll try to keep them to three. One, the scene when he unveiled when Curtis unveiled that they were eating kids and
Yeah,
they were eating babies and that he killed Edgar's mom
yeah,
and then the dude that was in cahoots with Wilford gave up his arm so they can eat that.
man.
Another one when they found out what they were eating in the jail bars.
Oh yeah. Oh my goodness.
Bro, I
Oh
would have
my
been
goodness.
livid. And then the third scene is when the two unlikely people to survive, which is Tanya's son and Namgoon's daughter, and they've never been outside the train. They were
Yeah.
born and all they know is a train. They get out into this new world. There's so much they have to learn, but who's going to teach them? So they gotta. So that scene really left a lot of cliffhangers that we are not probably won't even get. But I thought those three scenes stood out the most. There's some other ones, but yeah, when they was talking about it was eating babies and kids, and I was like, oh my goodness, like he killed. Yeah. So, but my best scene was when they went dark. He was like, yeah, y'all about to die, and
Oh
they
yeah,
start
that was the one. That was the one. Oh
they
my goodness,
start going hell, bro.
man.
That was a crazy scene, man.
Yeah. And now getting into most memorable quotes, I had orders the barrier that holds back the flood of death. Also, my friend, you suffer
Mm.
from the misplaced optimism of the doomed. He won't come here. Also, Wilfred is divine. And then finally, I know the train. I can guarantee you the safe passage. To you, were there any quotes that you thought were the best ones, or maybe the most distinguishable?
There, there weren't like some really like way profound. I think this is the first film like there weren't um
Like
like
blow you
one
away
liners
quotes?
like
Yeah.
blew me away. Um, Not really. I mean, it was good. I'm not
The
saying it was
scenes,
bad.
the scenes
Yeah,
were
it was the
actually what's
scene.
supposed to be the
Yeah,
more. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it was good monologue. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't like some like one liners like we normally
Yeah.
listen and like you can pick out. So
It
I didn't
wasn't
really.
Tarantino dialogue. It wasn't. It was.
Yeah, no, it wasn't Heat. It
Yeah, it
wasn't
wasn't Heat.
Heat
Oh
with
my
Al
goodness.
Pacino
Yeah,
and De Niro.
Nero.
Like it wasn't like those, but I remember the scenes, and I think that makes me think. Some of these movies, I remember the quotes, but this movie, I more so remember the scenes and really what happened. I remember this movie from beginning to end. It's a 2 hour film.
Yeah. It's funny how we always mention Heat, bro. Like 20 years from now, when I if I ever have a son, I'm gonna tell him, hey man, like when he gets to that age, like the one film you gotta watch, Heat.
It's Heat, bro.
You gotta watch it.
Do you want to see the best scene of monologue in your
Oh,
life,
ever,
son?
ever.
Nobody will ever touch that scene, bro.
Nobody, bro.
Ever. It is not even a crazy scene. They're in a diner. World is going on around them, and they have the simplest conversation and icon. We
You know
went
how
through this
special
before. It's just
conversation is? Conversation is the most basic thing, but it also can be the most special thing, and especially in a
yes.
movie. It's so powerful, bro. My
Within that,
goodness.
you learn so much about those characters.
Yes.
Man, it was yeah.
Special.
That's a
Golden.
masterpiece. Yes, really golden. Not nobody's gonna top that.
Not at all. And now getting into what did you like the most about the storyline? To me, as I was mentioning earlier, the commentary it had on the global socioeconomic structure was spot on, and just
Yeah.
fixing social inequality to destroy the very foundations of our society that have kind of been messed up in many aspects. I thought was really done in an extremely high fashion. To you, was there a particular element of this storyline that you kind of liked the most?
Um, I like the way there was a sense of dying or succeeding. And they understood that. We've seen a lot of hierarchy movies, like, high class, middle class, low class. We've seen a lot. I think this was a different take on it. And I think when you look at what they were doing in the back, and most of the times we don't get who's ever in charge of the low class and the high class working together. I
Hmm.
thought that was a different element of the storyline.
Yeah,
I was like, we never get it's always, verses, but they're low key working together, talking to each other without people knowing it. And you
yeah,
know what I'm saying? So I thought that was a different style to the storyline. But what I liked the most about it was, man, they will do anything. This is not the first revolt. It's not they tried. No, I think they got to the first car and then they got whatever, but I love the way they pay attention to details in this storyline. Every character paid attention to the
so detailed,
details.
so
Yeah.
detailed.
Like when the lady said, put that useless gun away. And Curtis was like, it's no guns in the bullets. There's no bullets in the gun. There's no bullets in the guns. They was like, "You sure? You sure?" I was like, he was like, "Yeah." There literally wasn't bullets in the gun. They start going crazy. So I love how every character paid attention to the details and the character development within the storyline. But they gave us a bit of different things that we normally don't normally see when we watch films that normally talk about hierarchy and the low class, middle class, high class stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And before we get to our last topic, Bong Joon Ho, he's obviously had the one of my favorite movies of the last 5 years, Parasite. He was able to pull that movie off, and then this film as well. Like, could you tell, like, if you hadn't known that he made Parasite and you watched both of those films back to back, would you been able to tell, like, yeah, this he made those two movies? Like, did you see any similarities between, like, what he's done from that Parasite to this film?
No, I didn't know that was the same director.
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
he's talented.
He's talented, bro. He's
And
got a
those
catalog.
were Parasite was 2019.
19.
No,
Yeah, 2019.
19.
Yeah.
Ooh. To
Yeah.
be able to do that and ooh. Yeah, he's Parasite. I don't think he should have won. Just throwing it out there. But I do think Parasite was a good film.
Yes.
And it's the same wow.
I'm telling you, bro. He's got a bag.
Wow. Because it's this kind of similar storyline,
Yeah.
but it gives us different elements and
Because the
it gives us
Parasite
a
is only
different
like
angle.
A Korean film. This one had
Yeah.
obviously American different the different
Right.
races, but that just I think the ethnicity was the only difference, but it still was kind of showing you a similar
Right.
storyline. Yeah.
And he was able to give different perspectives within similar storylines. And then, if I'm not mistaken, there was only one site they shot at. It was the house.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The house. Yeah.
Oh, he has mastered it. That's insane. I didn't know he
He's
was
the
the same
master of the
director.
one location. The one
Bro, you know
location.
how hard that is?
That is so tough, bro.
How do you develop characters at one location?
Man, I'm yeah, I'm rewatching Parasite. It's on
Bro,
HBO
that's
Max too.
insane. Yeah, that makes me want to go back and look to see if I find like outside the
Because it's been
storyline,
a
but little
while. It's been a while since I've
similarities.
rewatched it, but I would be intrigued to look back at that, see what he did in that.
Huh. Okay, that was yeah. There's some similarities, but obviously he gives us a different perspective, different
Mhm.
angle,
Yeah.
different site he shot at, and I think both were shot beautifully.
Oh my goodness. Because
Yeah,
you obviously love, and was that one of the first things that stood out to you for Snowpiercer was how this film was shot?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. And then Parasite, like the first thing I noticed outside the storyline was like, oh, he knows angles, he knows how to tell the story through the lens,
Yeah.
and it's a difference to write an incredible uh, screenplay and have a credible
So good.
storyline. But if you can't shoot it, if you can't bring it to
It's not
life
going to
through
be
the
anything.
lens, it's not going to be anything.
Yeah.
It's not going to be relatable and be like you know what I'm saying? Because my eyes were stuck to the screen for Parasite too.
Hmm.
Because I'm like, oh wow, oh my goodness,
You're not gonna be looking down at your phone. It's not one of those movies you're
no,
gonna be looking down at your phone. You're gonna be glued.
absolutely not. You're gonna be glued. You're gonna be in. It's gonna unveil so many things that you. Because for me as a movie watcher, sometimes I can anticipate what's going to happen.
Mhm.
Parasite, I could not. Snowpiercer, I could not.
Nah.
Yeah.
I love
So
films like that are so
yeah.
fascinating. They're so
Yes.
fascinating. We don't get those are the few and far between ones. And to close it out, to 10 years from now, will this still be watchable and intriguing? And I feel like this is one that maybe not a lot of people have heard about. You kind of
Yeah.
have to like we said, this is one of those dig into the vaults. Really have to search for it. But I think if you do watch it, it's like Savon said, it's 2 hours, but you will be glued to it. It will have your attention if you give it a shot. And it's really one of those ones even if it's not your genre, it's going to be hard to not stay hooked onto it because it really
Right.
does grab your attention from the jump. So, what do you think about the watchability of it, even another decade from now, and particularly for the people who haven't really seen it and are unfamiliar with Bong Joon Ho's catalog?
Yeah. So I mean, it's on Netflix. Snowpiercer's on Netflix, like you said. Parasite's on HBO Max.
Yeah,
So I mean, obviously, the first 5 minutes you're gonna be like, okay, whatever. Um, and I watched it at like 10 o'clock at night, right?
Oh, you
And
had
I
a
was
late
just like,
watch.
yeah, it was after watching football. He was like, hey man, have you seen this? So like, I'm just watching the time. I might leave. I don't know if I'm gonna finish it. And then the first scene goes off. They put his arm through the thing, and I'm like, okay, all right,
All
what
right,
a it's
locked
certain they
in.
know, right? They know a certain degree it is. So if you like you said, if you give it a shot and be able to like sit there, you won't regret sitting there for 2 hours watching this film. There's some great actors in this film, and there's some underrated actors in this film too, like Octavia Spencer, which she's a great
Oh
actor.
my goodness, man.
She has so much range, and her eyes. I don't matter what character she plays, she could play like not Hidden Gems. Yeah, it was Hidden Gems, wasn't it? When
Hidden
she was
Figures.
hidden. Hey, well, listen,
Hidden Gems will
it's
be a great EP. Ooh, Hidden Gems. Oh my goodness. I got it. That gave me idea. That gave me an idea for a lyric.
oh my goodness, bro.
Thank you.
Hidden Figures. But yeah, just give it a shot. I think it has great watchability. You
Did
just
you
got
ever
to give
watch
it a
the film
shot.
Ma? Did you ever watch the film Ma?
Oh, it was insane.
That was so insane.
It was insane. She was out her cabeza.
It
Really,
was
she was
the
out
one
her
film.
head.
It was the one film. Hey, before we close out, we were out. It was a few years ago. I was out on vacation with my family, and we were trying to just my parents like, hey, you guys want to watch a movie? Wellington, make the pick. I was like, hey, let's watch Ma. By the middle of it, they looked at me like, what did you?
You knew what you were doing.
I knew it. Y'all gave me the pick. Y'all really gave me
Right.
the pick.
Hey, I was a general manager. I made the first round pick. This is what we're gonna go with.
Hey guys, let's do it.
That's funny. Oh
But
my
yeah,
goodness.
bro. But Snowpiercer, man,
Yeah.
definitely highly recommended. Savon recommended to me. If Savon recommends, I know it's going to be amazing. So, but this film, it checks all the boxes that we generally talk about.
Yeah,
So,
for sure. Go see it. I mean, not go see it. I mean, go watch it. I mean, it's
watch
on
in the comfort of your
Netflix.
home.
Right.
But man, before we close it out, though, we didn't even mention Usher headlining the Super Bowl halftime show. Got any thoughts on that, man?
He's gonna sing to everybody's wife. He's gonna break up
Bro, that's what
relationships.
I'm saying. I'm never taking my future wife to a Usher concert. She's gonna get
That's
snagged.
stupid, right? But no, it's gonna be a great show because he has some bangers.
Yep,
I mean,
catalog.
obviously he was a part of oh my
Oh, I
like
love
so
that
they
song.
gotta play he gotta bring Black Eyed Peas out because Black Eyed Peas played Super Bowl, I believe. I think they played the Super Bowl one year.
Hmm.
The Black Eyed Peas, yeah. So bringing them out, he can bring a lot of people out. So I'm hoping it's like a Dr. Dre thing when he bring out Snoop, 50,
Yeah,
Eminem. So I think it's gonna
multiple
be I think it's
acts.
gonna be enjoyable.
Yeah,
He has a crazy catalog. So as long as he gonna sing to nobody's wives
stay away.
or backstage doing
Yeah,
crazy stuff,
I don't like that Usher. You too smooth. You too smooth. Too smooth. I don't like that.
and I'm sure he's still burning.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's it. Well, that wraps it up for tonight. I'm your host, Winter Burns, on my counterpart, Savon Morris. This has been Full Scope. See you later.